Hey, what is going on, Frag fam? I hope you guys are all doing well today. Elliot here, and welcome back to the Fragrance Well. You see the title, we're talking about top 10 recommendations today. Now, when we're talking about fragrance recommendations, I do think we have to put some bullet points to it because theoretically, I could recommend 10 random fragrances from that cabinet and they would be fragrance recommendations. So I'm going to put some stipulations on why I'm recommending what I'm recommending. It's actually towards maybe a specific audience that could be just generally looking for recommendations. So I got 10 fragrances. We will have 5 different categories of recommendations for those 10 fragrances. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like the content. Please hit that bell icon, enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. And as always, I will have links to the fragrances down in the description below. Let's get into it. All right, guys, let's get into it. First category we're going to talk about is, let's just say somebody wants a fragrance and they just simply want to smell good. They don't really want to have to think too much about the scent, but they also don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money. So these first 2 fragrances are fragrances that are very, very good, but you can get them at an affordable price. And when I say affordable, at least less than $100. So first one's coming from Hugo Boss, and this is Hugo Reversed. Hugo Boss, Hugo Reversed. I often say that this is my top recommendation, at least for what I have in my fragrance collection, that is affordable, but a great scent. Think grapefruit-like citrus, think slight aromatic touch, think a little bit aquatic, but a clean aquatic fragrance, woody base to it, vetiver, super easy to wear. You can use it for anything. No one's really going to be offended by this fragrance. It's affordable. That's the best thing about it. So wonderful scent that's just great for everyday wear. You can use it for whatever, and it smells amazing. So I would say, hey, if you're looking for a fragrance, you don't want to spend a lot of money, but you want something that's just kind of easy to spray on. You don't have to warm up to it, if you will. This one is a great one. So coming from Hugo Boss, once again, this is Hugo Reversed. All right, next one's going to be coming from Narciso Rodriguez, and this is Bleu Noir for him, Eau de Parfum. Narciso Rodriguez, Bleu Noir for him, Eau de Parfum. And I forgot to mention when we started this video that most of the time when I'm talking about price point, I am talking about at a discounted rate. Although, to be fair, Hugo Reversed, you can get that at rack stores for the same discounted rate. So that one, it really shouldn't matter that much. But this one, if you pay for it full retail, it might be over $100. I actually don't know the full retail price, but get it at discounters. You can get it much cheaper. So yeah, Narciso Rodriguez, these Bleu Noir fragrances are very classy type of fragrances. Let's say you want something that kind of has the same kind of attitude as a Bleu de Chanel, but you don't want to pay for Bleu de Chanel because good luck getting that discounted. This one here is woody. It's fresh. It's got a little bit of a clean vibe to it. Very classy. Well put together, gentlemanly kind of smell to it. But again, it's pleasing to the nose. You don't have to warm up to it, in my opinion. You could certainly use it for just about anything. So it checks that box where, hey, I want to smell good, but I don't necessarily want to pay a lot of money for it. And this fragrance here will absolutely do that. Just a little bit of a different vibe than maybe you would get from something like Hugo Reversed. So trying to give some variety in terms of the recommendations. So once again, from Narciso Rodriguez, this is Bleu Noir for him, Eau de Parfum. All right, so we're moving on to the next category where, let's say it's the same thing. You just want to smell good. You want fragrances that you don't really have to think much about in terms of when you wear them, but you don't mind spending a little bit more money, over $100, if not well over $100. So first one's coming from Roja Parfums. This is Elysium Parfum pour Homme. Roja Parfums, Elysium Parfum pour Homme. Full transparency here, the Parfum Cologne is actually probably a better buy, because that one I do believe will cost you more than $100, but it wouldn't be as expensive as this one. And frankly, that one's probably even easier to wear than this one is, but it still remains the same. Also, I don't have a bottle of it, so I can't feature of it. So this one here it's a lot of things. It's a very complex blue fragrance, best way to describe it. You got fruity notes, you've got citrus notes, you definitely got aromatic notes, you got this woody, musky combination. I don't really find this to be overly sweet. There's freshness here, but it's not like a freshie. So it kind of just checks all the boxes for easy to pull off, somewhat masculine notes. It is I don't know. Yeah, it is pour homme, so it's a masculine fragrance. In terms of the marketing, at least, there actually is a feminine version now that I think about it. But yeah, this fragrance is one of those ones where, you know, you don't really have to think about it, but it's a little bit more expensive. So is the quality higher? Well, that's kind of left up to you if you think the quality is higher or not. But I will say this is a much more sophisticated fragrance, much more complex than the previous two I just talked about. So when you smell it, in my opinion, I'm not going to say you pick up every note in here, but you can tell like there's a lot more going on with this fragrance. So I see why maybe it would cost more. But then again, it's up to you if you want to actually pay for it. So once again, from Roja Parfums, this is Elysium Parfum Pour Homme. All right, so next recommendation for smelling good, but you don't mind spending a little bit more money. This one's coming from Chanel, since I already talked about it. It is Bleu de Chanel, but the Parfum concentration. Bleu de Chanel Parfum concentration. I firmly believe that this one is the best. As of me shooting this video, the new La Exclusive, or whatever it's called, is out. I'm going to get my nose on that probably tomorrow, so I'll share thoughts on that later. But this one, at least, you know, out of the previous three, is the best to me. And really, the only reason it's on the more expensive list is because, again, good luck getting it discounted. It would be nice if it were discounted, but, you know, we live in the real world. We can wish all we want to. Fresh citrus profiles here. I get some aromatics from it. It is very, very woody. Great cedar sandalwood combination that is synonymous with a lot of Chanel fragrances. I think they just have their own blend of that, and I think it's highlighted in this fragrance. Some people have said it's powdery. I mean, I don't really get powdery, but I can understand why they feel that way. Some even believe there's probably some incense-like notes in this, but overall, we know Bleu de Chanel is one of those scent DNAs that is legendary. Something that so many guys can rock, has been a successful wear for so many guys. So in terms of just simply smelling good, it's hard for me not to recommend this, because I think it is one of the best buys out there in terms of just simply smelling good. And again, because the price point is simply higher, that's just because Chanel just, you know, plays the games that they do, in which they have every right to do. So it is what it is when it comes to that. So once again, from Chanel, this is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. All right, so let's switch gears just a little bit. You still want to smell good, but in particular, you want to maximize compliments. And now I'll be the first to tell you compliments are not a high reason why I buy fragrances, but I definitely can recognize a fragrance that is very likely to get you a lot of compliments. So let's go with one of the top ones out there. Coming from Rasasi, this is Hawas. Rasasi, Hawas, and you know, there's what are there like 10 Hawases now? I've lost count. This is, as far as I know, it's the original one. So we're just talking about that one. I only got two anyway. I'm not buying every single Hawas in existence. But yeah, this one is definitely known as a major compliment garnering DNA. It does smell good. Overly artificial smell that is fruity and spicy, kind of ambery and woody as well. It's quite sweet. The fruitiness is definitely artificial, but it's pleasant. And honestly, while I'm not a major fan of scents like this, I like the way this is blended. I don't mind having it. So yeah, this is definitely a DNA that just will get you that positive attention. It's meant to kind of reach out, grab people's noses, grab their attention. And this scent is kind of proven to do that, which is part of the reason why there's so many flankers. Many say that this is kind of similar to Invictus Aqua. I think some have said that this actually came out before Invictus Aqua, so maybe Invictus Aqua took some inspiration from this, but who knows? It doesn't really matter. The point is, this is definitely a successful compliment getting DNA for a lot of guys. So if someone's like, hey, I just want to maximize compliments while smelling good doing it, well, this one may be one to recommend. So once again, from Rasasi, this is Hawas. All right, guys, keeping with that same subject matter, this one's coming from Jazada, and this is Ambassador. Jazada Ambassador. So same thing with this one. You're gonna smell great. Definitely will pull positive attention. You can certainly maximize compliments with this fragrance. And I would even go as far as to say, compared to Hawas, this one kind of covers the earlier subject matters I covered too, where it's like you can kind of use it for whatever. This one here is very versatile, in my opinion. Could be a signature scent. This one also has some fruity notes. It is also relatively sweet, but definitely not as sweet as Hawas. I like to call this a fruity Sauvage, a fruity take on Sauvage. You do have the lavender and the peppery, spicy notes that are kind of synonymous with Sauvage, but it's definitely not a clone. I would say it maybe took a little bit of inspiration and wanted to, take it in a slightly different direction. So that's the fruity notes that is in here. And also the woody nature of this is not like an Ambroxan balm. This one actually uses a good, really nice representation, in my opinion, of teak wood, which definitely separates it quite a bit from that Sauvage DNA. But I feel like I have to say that because it's hard for me to smell it and not think of that. So it would be disingenuous not to bring that up. But that being said, this is its own fragrance. And let me tell you, you want to maximize compliments. This is a fragrance that can do that, full stop. So once again, from Jazada, this is Ambassador. All right, so moving on to the next category of recommendations. Let's say somebody wants to smell good, obviously, but they want to maximize performance. Again, this is something I personally do not prioritize when I am looking to buy a fragrance or add something to my collection. But I have got great performing fragrances in my collection, so I can make some recommendations. First one's going to come from Tom Ford. This is Ombre Leather Parfum. Tom Ford, Ombre Leather Parfum. And by the way, it doesn't have to be the Parfum. It can be the Eau de Parfum, and I think even the Eau de Ombre Leather, whatever it's called. As far as I know, that one performs well too. So yeah, this one, obviously a leather fragrance, very fresh leather fragrance. Uses notes like violet and iris to kind of add to the overall fresh take of this. Also give it a really smooth interpretation. You could say maybe there's a drop of sweetness in there to, just make it a little bit more palatable. The leather here is relatively clean. It's not a super dirty leather at all, which is why the Ombre Leather DNA is kind of one of the more successful leather DNAs out there. And I love this stuff. I actually smelled someone wearing Ombre Leather this past week, and he actually had the whole room kind of smelling like that. And I was like, all right, I know what that is. What is it? And then it came to me, and then I saw a guy sitting there, and I was like, are you wearing Ombre Leather? He said, yes. I said, good choice. This is a great choice. Obviously, there's some sillage you're going to get from this as well, a little bit of projection too. But yeah, anytime I've worn Ombre Leather, performance has never been a problem. This will stick to clothes forever and will be on your skin typically for a good amount of time. So if somebody is looking for a good performing scent, this is one of the ones I might suggest to them. So once again, from Tom Ford, this is Ombre Leather Parfum. All right, next one's going to be coming from Nishane, and this is going to be Fan Your Flames. Nishane, Fan Your Flames. And again, we're sticking with the good performing scents. Nishane has plenty of fragrances that perform really, really well. Now, I will admit, Fan Your Flames, maybe not as palatable for some people. It's not going to be for everybody. However, I don't necessarily think it's challenging. I think you should just sample it first if you're not familiar with the DNA. This is a tropical, boozy tobacco fragrance. Now, it uses quite a bit of coconut notes. Maybe that could be the thing that might turn some people off to it. Maybe it's just a little too much. There's also really nice rum-like booziness to this. So you definitely, if you've ever been in the Caribbean, it kind of puts you in that vibe for sure. There is a little bit of sweetness to this. Tobacco here, not really that dirty, not a super hard to like tobacco in my opinion. But I think if there was anything that may turn somebody off to this, it would be the coconut. Also, there's a little bit of a dryness overall to this fragrance, but it smells great. It's one of my favorites from the house, and anytime I've worn this, my goodness, you are committed. This one could stick to your skin up to 24 hours. If it gets in your clothes, again, it's there forever until you really, really wash it out, similar to Ombre Leather. So again, if you're just looking for performance, this is a fragrance that could potentially give you that. So once again, from Nishane, this is Fan Your Flames. All right, guys, so the last category for recommendations, let's say you're maybe someone a little bit closer to what I tend to be. You're, a heavy collector or a really big enthusiast, and you're into maybe the artistry of scents. You're into where maybe they can transport you or paint a picture in your mind, or maybe even they're just different. It's something that's just not like anything else out there and kind of challenges you a little bit. I like scents like that, but some people may be looking for recommendations, so I just chose two random ones. First one, coming from Day 3 Fragrances, is Filosofia. Day 3 Fragrances, Filosofia. All right, so this fragrance is not challenging at all. In my opinion, this one really paints a picture in my mind, and it is synonymous with the write-up for the fragrance. So, tobacco fragrance, first off, but far different from Fan Your Flames. You're not really getting much of a tropical vibe with this. The tobacco in this is a little bit more smoky. Definitely think like cigar, like tobacco. By the way, I think Fan Your Flames maybe a little bit kind of a cross between pipe tobacco and cigar tobacco. But anyway, this one also features like this cozy characteristic to it, which to me is not something you often find in a tobacco fragrance, particularly one that doesn't have a lot of spicy note. This one's not overly spicy. In fact, it has kind of this earthy chocolate characteristic to it. Now, it doesn't quite come across gourmand to me, but it just gives it this kind of warmth to the fragrance, and I really enjoy how this smells. Now, when I say it transports me somewhere, the write-up for this fragrance basically says that this is meant to be like enjoying a cigar with family or friends around a fire or something like that. I think this fragrance, in a weird way, perfectly captures that vibe. When I smell this scent, I actually think of times I have sat with my dad or my brothers, and we've sat around a fire and just smoked a cigar and just chatted it up. Or even had some drinks with it. Now, I don't get a whole lot of booziness from this, but again, it's about the vibe of this scent. I really do get that from this fragrance. It's very interesting. But yeah, and I don't really get that from a whole lot of tobacco cigars. Not a family vibe. A chill vibe, sure, but a family vibe, that's not something I find to be too common. So once again, from day 3 fragrances, this is Filosofia. All right, guys, last one. Again, we're talking about fragrances that maybe challenge the envelope a little bit. This one here is exactly that. It is completely different. It's I don't know if I would call it a challenging fragrance. It's more of a love it or hate it fragrance, but we'll get into it. Coming from Maison Crivelli, this is Patchouli Magnetik. Maison Crivelli, Patchouli Magnetik. Now, I've talked about this scent before where, I described it as a 50-50 fragrance. You either love it or you hate it. I don't think there's an in-between. If you look at any ratings for this fragrance, it seems like that's pretty much the case. You got people that think this is awesome and others like, bruh, that fragrance is garbage. This is a patchouli fragrance first and foremost, which again, patchouli, not necessarily a challenging note overall, but if it's really, really strong, really, really forward, it's not going to be for everyone. So this one kind of combines this really leafy patchouli with this fruity, artificial peach kind of note. I think it's the peachiness that really throws people off. Honestly, I don't think it's the patchouli necessarily, but the combination is a little weird. It's certainly not something that is common. Perfumed by Quentin Biche. He's known for doing weird things from time to time. He does stuff that everybody loves, and then he'll put something out right behind it. And it's like, yep, that's literally for a specific type of person, not for everyone. That's kind of what this scent is. It's also really, really sweet. It's a really sweet patchouli. Once it kind of dries down, you get past the peachy fruitiness, and you're still left with the patchouli for sure. But it gets almost kind of like tonka bean sweet, if you will. It actually gets really, really pleasant on the dry down, in my opinion. But when you first spray it, that artificial peach, I think, is what throws people. With that being said, this fragrance is different. It's going to be challenging to a lot of people. If you're looking for a fragrance that doesn't smell like a whole lot of stuff out there, I would say, yeah, check this one out. I'm not saying you're going to like it, but it definitely will give you something different, and who knows, you may love it. So once again, from Maison Crivelli, this is Patchouli Magnetik. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you would like to, let me know down in the comments below. If you're familiar with these scents, what do you think of my recommendations? Are they good? Are they bad? I would love to see what you guys have to say. Also, if you want to put down a recommendation for whatever it may be, because I know you guys got recommendations, you can put those in the comments below. I would love to see what you guys have to say about that. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well. And I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.